My wife and I love to travel. We really, really do. And I don't know if this has a lot. Well, yeah, it does. It does have a lot to do with traveling. It seems like today most of us, or a large percentage of the American population, sets up their own travel deals via, Expedia, Priceline, et cetera, et cetera. But I know that there are still travel agents, who continue to book for you. Is there a better choice one way or the other, or you understand what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah. So basically, Expedia, Booking.com, Priceline, all of them, they're online travel agencies. So people will typically book a simple point-to-point air ticket,
right,
or 2 nights, 3 nights in a hotel, to Sacramento or whatever. The vast majority, somewhere in the 80+% range of those sites, their profits come from booking hotel rooms, that just basic hotels. When it comes to booking a resort in Mexico or doing a tour or vacation packages, the vast majority of those are booked by traditional travel agents for one key reason. If you look in the Quintana Roo area of Mexico, that is Cancun, Cozumel, Riviera Maya, Isla Mujeres, that area has well over 1,000 lodging choices. So if you want to make a choice and pick a hotel down there, that's up to you, but there's 1,000 plus to choose from. And how do you know you got the best deal? How do you know you got the best hotel? That's where a travel agent's advice comes in. And what people don't realize, it saves them money, because they'll end up going to a company like an Apple Vacations, book a package to, let's say, a resort I was just at last week called Breathless, and they'll match this hipster kind of cool, sophisticated resort with an all-inclusive package with air and transfers through a company like Apple Vacations, and that compounds the savings. And if you book it with Apple yourself as a traveler, you pay the same price as if the travel agent did all the work, because they then pay out of the price a commission to the agent. Think of the agent as their salesperson that only gets paid if they book something. And that's why a lot of travelers are turning back to traditional agents.
Oh, okay. Well, that certainly makes a lot of sense in that regard, and I'm glad that you clarified that. Of course, summer's coming to an end, or will be shortly.
Yep.
Which generally, in a lot of ways, indicates that there's going to be some really great deals out there for fall and winter.
Absolutely. So I think you look at two things. You look at the timing. You look at obviously demand drops, and you look at things like the foreign exchange rate. So if you ever wanted to go to Mexico and haven't been, and you want to enjoy one of the great resorts, jump on a plane, go to Cancun, and go to one of the many properties there, like I mentioned, and you're going to save big time, because it's 20-1 peso to the dollar. So your dollar goes super far, and you're in off season. And because of the negative publicity, which has been unjustly put on Mexico, the tourist areas, despite them being deemed safe by the State Department, they are taking a hit because of some of the stuff that's going on in other parts of the country. And so just like if something happens in Dallas, it wouldn't stop you going to Miami. Geographically, that's the distance we're talking about in many cases when it comes to Mexico and travel and safety, et cetera. So that's where that travel agent can give you the inside scoop and let you know if what you're reading in some cases is correct, or as they call it, fake news. Canada, on the other hand, going north is a great deal as well for the same reason. Great exchange rates. Going into the fall is they're slowing down, and you can snare hotel deals. You can do an Airbnb for $50, $60 a night in Toronto, for instance. Montreal and Quebec, fantastic destinations. So lots of choices.
Yeah, my wife and I 2 years ago flew from Texas to Boston, stayed there a couple of days, and then boarded a cruise into Canada.
Yep.
Loved every minute of it. It was just absolutely wonderful. And then stayed in Boston another 2 days when we got back before we flew back home to Texas. But and I say that only to say that we felt like at the time we got a great deal for our money, and it was much cheaper than a cruise you might take, say, at the beginning of the summer or wherever. Totally. It was a really good. We felt like that the value that we got was terrific for what all we did.
Well, sometimes it feels like it's cheaper to go away on a vacation like that than it is to stay home and go out to dinner, and that can be true in many of these markets. What you're talking about, you did it a little differently. You flew to Boston, but what's amazing is the cruise industry has put ships up and down both of our coasts and in Texas, Galveston, et cetera, New Orleans, and so you can jump on a cruise ship and a huge percentage of the population is within a several-hour drive of a cruise ship, which means you save on airfare. You don't have to deal with TSA and the nonsense with that, And the second you pull up to the port, you're on vacation. And so that's great. And you did it right because you did 2 days pre, 2 days post. You extended your vacation so you weren't running from the cruise ship to get to the airport. You had a leisurely taxi ride to your hotel. You chilled out at the end of your cruise, experienced maybe some history in Boston. You did it the right way. That's how I would suggest people do it.
Well, yeah, there's just so much out there, so many things that are available. We could talk almost forever, but unfortunately for us, we have news coming up at the bottom of the hour. But thank you for your tips, and I'm going to remember that about the travel agency.
Yeah, man. Talk up agents. They save people a lot of headaches and a lot of money.
All right. Appreciate it greatly.
Cheers.